Do you want to be able to transcribe or play by ear any melody that you hear, like this one? If you want to be able to do that, then this video will help you. So just now, I was filming a couple of videos teaching you guys how to actually find and construct and interact with your own melodies. But I realized that one really critical thing is this thing called interval training. Wow, how boring does that sound? It sounds terribly boring, doesn't it? Interval training, why is it important? I'm guessing if you've clicked on this video, I only have a short amount of time to convince you why you should stay to watch this video. And how can that help you in your actual musical playing? Which is a great question. Now, interval training is part of oral training, or more commonly known as ear training. Now, just like how going to the gym strengthens and stretches your muscles, interval training and oral training, ear training, that sort of thing, doing this type of interval training is exactly the same thing. It will strengthen and it will train your musical ability. Interval training is a little bit like doing cardio specifically. It doesn't feel great, but what it does is that it keeps your ears very healthy and it comes in more often than you think. Now, if you are interested in doing this sort of ear training in the style of going to the gym, I've got a discount code. I've got 20% off this website called Tone Gym, which does exactly that. It gives you training for your ears and it allows you to grow your musical ability as well, including stuff like interval training. So it's a great place to practice. And that'll be in the description below and it'll probably be in the comments as well. So interval training specifically will help you identify the distances between notes. It'll help you identify melodies and it overall certainly helps you to become a better musician. At the very least, it gives you a little bit of language and formalism to be able to describe the distances between notes. People think that musicians just make music, but we know that great musicians know how to listen and use their ear as well. Now, I'm stressing this again. I'm making this video because I've got a series coming out very shortly about how to actually find the melody. And this is sort of a supplement to that. But in reality, it is quite commonly used outside of that as well. In reality, I think it's just a nice video to know. And it's always good to know your intervals. So intervals are the distances between two notes. You know, those distances. Each of those have a different name. So intervals are described with a number, sort of second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. And they're also described with a quality, major, minor, or perfect. Now, a little disclaimer here, diminished and augmented intervals do exist, but that's more to do with the naming of them as opposed to the actual distances between the notes. The actual distances between two notes we can describe with just major, minor, and perfect. Perfect intervals are unison ones, which is the same note, a perfect fourth, a perfect fifth, and a perfect octave. The rest can be described with either major or minor. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each interval between unison to an octave, and I'm going to show you how I identify them. I'd suggest using these references only as a guide when you're learning or when you're teaching someone else for the first time. I really do highly recommend internalizing these intervals. With some practice, that will certainly come along. So with that said, the unison is probably the easiest. I didn't even write a reference for this because it's just the same note. So for example, that's a unison interval. There's no distance between them. So the first real one is a minor second, which is... Now, do let me know if this is actually difficult for you in the comments. But for me, I don't have a reference for this either because I recognize this as just the next note. So I know some people like to reference the Jaws theme. But in reality, it's just the next note. The major second, I refer to this as the Happy Birthday song. The first couple notes of Happy Birthday. So that's a major second. And if you have trouble identifying a minor second, just ask yourself, is it the Happy Birthday or is it less? Because it's quite dissonant if it's a minor second, but if it's a major second, it'll be happy birthday. So in practice, if you hear the first note, just try singing happy birthday starting on that note, and you'll be able to find the major second. Now, the minor third, the way I remember this is the Hunger Games whistle. I'm not sure if you've seen that movie, but that whistle is kind of haunting, but it also is the third that identifies the minor chord. Now, a major third, on the other hand, sounds quite happy. I try and imagine if this could be part of a major chord, the root and the third. La, la, la. Sounds a little bit like an airport. Maybe that can be your reference. So the first two notes of a major chord. Now, a perfect fourth, so neither minor nor major, but a perfect fourth, that's what it sounds like. My reference for this is Amazing Grace. That's a perfect fourth in between that. Now, the next note is called a tritone, or an augmented fourth / diminished fifth, but it's commonly known as a tritone because it's exactly halfway. It's exactly halfway in the octave. And this is referred to as my reference for this is the Simpsons theme. Now, a perfect fifth, again, neither minor nor major, is the Star Wars theme. So it can be quite commonly confused with a fourth. So make sure you practice that again. Practice will differentiate it. Fourth is Amazing Grace. Tritone is The Simpsons, but tritone is quite jarring. It's quite dissonant. So you'll be able to recognize that. But a perfect fifth, Star Wars theme. Okay, a minor sixth. This is my personal one that I struggle most with. Now it does sound a little bit minor, but the best way for me to identify this is that it's the big jump in the entertainer. So that's a minor sixth in between these notes here. So I try and imagine, will it fit in the entertainer? That's a minor sixth. Now, for all of these intervals, you don't have to just remember, is it Amazing Grace? Is it not? You can always remember the references for either side of it and see if it fits there. And that often makes it easy to determine whether it's that interval or not. So for example, if I'm not sure whether it's a tritone, I try and imagine, is it Amazing Grace or is it Star Wars? And if not, it's probably a tritone. A major sixth is that one Chopin song that everyone knows. So I imagine, is it the start of a Chopin nocturne? If not, it's not a major sixth. So that's major sixth. Now, minor seventh is another one that I don't have because I'll show you a major seven first. A major seven is one shy of an octave. And this is by itself quite dissonant. So it's quite dissonant and it's quite a distinct sound. But if you need a reference for it, Take On Me. That's why it's a little bit tricky to sing, because it's a major seventh and it's quite dissonant because it's one shy of an octave. And for that reason, I don't have a reference for a minor seventh. This is a minor seventh. This is a major seventh. Yeah, so the minor seventh is even though it has the word minor in it, don't be thrown by that, it sounds a little less dissonant than the major seventh. And of course, that takes us to an octave. And an octave should be quite easy for most of you to recognize because it's the same note, just an octave higher. But again, I'd suggest using this only as a reference when you're learning initially. I'd try not to actively think about this because I like to think that I've internalized these intervals, and these references is just a tool for you to learn to internalize it yourself. So to finish off the video, I'm going to give you a few exercises. I'm going to blur the overhead camera up there, and I'm going to show you a couple of intervals, and I want you to try and identify them. So number one. Again. That was a perfect fourth. That was a major sixth. That one's a minor third. That one's a minor seventh. Last one here. That one's a tritone. Put it down in the comments how you went with that. If this is too easy, then, well, good for you. Let me know what your score was down in the comments. But also, what could be a good active practice tool is to go back and when I play the first note, now that you know what the intervals are, just pause it after I play the first note and then try and sing the next note given that interval. So try and reproduce what a perfect fourth or a tritone or whatever the answers were. Try and sing that out loud to yourself and see how you go with that. That's an example of active practicing. So if you want more of these exercises, check out Tone Gym. I've got a 20% off discount code for you guys if you'd like. But you can also practice this quite easily yourself. I'm sure there's other material online as well. But if you like that drill style exercise where it is a little bit like a gym for your ear, check out Tone Gym. The links will be in the description and in the comments and stuff. So again, this video is a precursor for the other videos that I've got coming out about how to find, how to construct, and how to interact meaningfully with a melody. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know any questions you have as well. I really try my best to get to all of them. And if you've made it this far, thank you for spending a couple of minutes of your day with me, and consider liking and subscribing. I'll see you in my next videos.